Democratic Party is in full-blown self-destruction mode. President Biden is taking the gloves off in his long-standing feud with Nancy Pelosi after she led the coup to push him off the ticket. So Joe is getting his sweet revenge by pushing a ban on her favorite hobby.
I don't know how you look your constituents in the eye and know because the job they gave you an inside track to make more money. I think we should be changing the law that we have to, but we abide by at the federal level, that nobody in the Congress should be able to make money in the stock market while they're in the Congress.
Nancy also has her mitts in another big Democrat dust-up. AOC just lost her bid to helm the powerful House Oversight Committee to a Pelosi-backed Congressman, Jerry Connolly of Virginia. Watch this.
I ran the best race that I could, and I think to all of our folks at home that are watching, I just want to thank everyone so much for their support inside the caucus and outside, and I'm ready to move forward and protect our communities and fight for working people.
The liberal media erupting over the optics of a 35-year-old losing to a 74-year-old.
Those are the disruptive voices that I think the party needs to concede, retire, enjoy the rest of your life.
What is about this?
Let them be
This gerontocracy seems like it's intractable.
Pelosi whipped votes to make sure that Connolly got the oversight job over the young star in the party, even as the 84-year-old Pelosi is recovering from hip surgery after suffering a fall. It feels like a moment of genuine madness.
You know, isn't it ironic, Jesse, that the media who bashed us for going after Joe Biden because of his age now all of a sudden is saying that Pelosi is too old and that Connolly is too old?
I'm not an ageist, but she earned it. AOC earned it, Judge. She stopped primarying people out of spite. She was a great surrogate for Joe Biden. She was lying through her teeth the whole time, but she did the job as a good foot soldier. And she's been an understudy to Raskin. She's, paid her dues. And you're going to have Connolly be the face of oversight during the Trump era? Mm-hmm. You need someone sharp, someone who can stay on their toes and telegenic to be the face of the resistance. And I would have given it to her. And I don't even know Connolly. I'm sure he's a great guy, but whatever. Joe Biden has not even called Nancy after she cracked her hip open. They haven't spoken since the coup. You'd think Joe would have gotten on the phone, hey, Nance, I'm sorry about your hip. Hope you feel better. Instead, he doesn't call her. He calls her a crook. Basically says, we're going to tie your hands so you can't get rich with Paulie P with your pillow talk anymore. But the most ironic thing is you can't have a job where you can profit from your service. Mm-hmm. Really, Joe?
Right.
Because that's exactly what his family did.
You know what's amazing about this, Dana, is that Joe Biden has been in Washington for a half a century. And all of a sudden, he's worried about people like Pelosi having the inside track. The truth is that this is purely personal. This is his trying to take Pelosi down. And, maybe she deserves it. I mean, she's got stocks, 65% return on her stocks.
Yeah, I mean, hello. Can we call your team a financial advisor?
Yeah, my team's not at 65%.
So Pelosi, this is interesting because she even defended the Hunter Biden pardon.
Yep.
When she was asked last week or the week before, do you support that? And she said, I support my president. Yes. So that is pretty interesting to me. She's saying, Joe, I'm trying to have an olive branch here, and that is not happening. In 2011 or 2012, Congress did pass a bipartisan bill to deal with the Stock Act thing. And so in some ways it feels like Joe Biden is basically just decided to stomp on our head and rub his heel on our head. I do think it's interesting to watch Joe Biden's last days in office because he's doing very, very little, doing everything very, very safe. He's never once had to answer yet about the Hunter pardon. He went to Delaware yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Christmas is next Tuesday. And you probably won't hear from him. But I just don't think he's going to be doing much at all. So anything that he's doing is very intentional. So he wanted to say that about Nancy Pelosi. It was about his legacy. He knew he wasn't going to get asked about the Hunter Biden pardon. On AOC, I think Nancy Pelosi got this one exactly right, read the room. She might have earned it. She is not ready. She's got to find her strong voice before she can be the head of Oversight.
Does she have a weak voice
in the
now?
Trump era? Yes. Up talking is not going to work.
You know, Jessica, I think part of this Nancy Pelosi thing is about AOC partnering up, I think it was in 2023, with Matt Gaetz to get a Stock Act passed. And so Pelosi wouldn't want AOC in that position. And Pelosi can control Connolly because she whipped the votes for him. AOC was willing to go along with Matt Gaetz to stop this corruption that's going on in Congress.
Well, there's definitely a clear move to protect the old guard, right, of the Democratic Party, even if people like Clyburn and Pelosi are being pushed out of their top seats and allowing quote unquote successors. They're still around giving interviews constantly and wielding a tremendous amount of power. And to her mind, Connolly has earned it over those years. He's 74, 75 years old. He's put in a lot of time there. He's a very competent and very good legislator. But for people who are on the other side of this, who think that it is time for someone like an AOC as the head of a powerful committee, they are looking at the results of the 2024 election and saying we have to do something different, right? We have been losing key constituencies in this. It wasn't like we were taking a flyer saying like, oh, let's hope and dream that we'll get, new people in our coalition that we shouldn't have had before. We lost working class voters, which is the core Democratic base. And AOC, if you watched her at the DNC, which we all did, gave one of the best speeches of that entire conference. And she was the one who nailed that tone. She's the one who can talk about going from being a bartender to being in Congress. And I found it really interesting that Pat Ryan, who's the Democratic congressman from the 18th here in New York, it's a bellwether district that he won by over 10 points. And he spoke on behalf of AOC. And he said, this is purely about my strong conviction that we must do two things. One, aggressively and strategically counter Trump. Two, we need to effing win. And AOC has the attitude of a winner. She will leave it all on the field. She is a great communicator. I think she has matured a lot in the last few years, certainly coming from, being a prime squad member to saying, I'm not going to primary people. I want to work with my coalition as much as I possibly can. And if you have people like Pat Ryan supporting her, I think that says something about what the next generation of Democrats are feeling.
Okay, so Tyrus, do you think she's as fabulous as Jessica does?
Unless the AOC is who I still think it is, right?
Yes.
The one who ran off Amazon, the one who bounce dances when she talks. How much legislation has she passed while she's been in the House?
Yeah.
How many laws? 0. She shows up for more dances and dinners than actually does work. So, no, she is part of the squad. She is part of the biggest L. She's the reason for the mandate. So, no, she shouldn't be in charge of anything. You're not even doing what you need to do at home, but that's besides the point. We need to stop saying, like, Joe's getting revenge. No. This is about you, Nancy Pelosi, and what she did to Joe. She took away his influence. She took away his family's ability to sell his influence. Whatever they got while he's in there is all they're going to have.
Yeah.
They're done. So this is, you took away my love.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take away what you love. Because, 65% return.
Yep.
She traded nearly $4 million in stocks with an estimated wealth of $250 million. That's just this year, Jesse. This is what drives me crazy about all these so-called politicians who serve the people. They all become millionaires. Even the socialist Bernie got 3 mansions. So, yeah, he's speaking it now. Where you been for 50 years, Joe? Like, they all do this. AOC is part of the problem. There's a reason why no one with any level head in their mind is going to give her more responsibility. She is, to quote the great Charles Barkley, terrible.
Terrible. And that's why, in the end, we need term limits.
Well, then Jerry Connolly is out.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Oh, Mitch, all of them. Get them all out.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.